Good morning, everybody. Give me a minute here. All right, so we're going to start just by, a broader look at the market after yesterday. And then we'll take a look at the futures and see what's going on there. So we'll see we had some threes, right, on the previous day, 5-7, Thursday or Wednesday. So those 3 2s, we got them right into last week's highs, which is what we wanted to see. Now the question is, do we confirm or negate that? So if we take previous day's lows, it's a reversal, 3-2-2, and we'd look for minimum around 476.91 on the Qs, 556.04 on the SPY if we do reverse. And if not, we're going to continue looking for those monthly signals to become in force. As we don't have all the monthlies breaking yet, but you're going to see most of the indexes look similar, and we just got all these dojis. So the biggest thing when you have a lot of dojis kicking around, and it looks like Dow Jones, they're not going to let me get that upper line on there. Same with IWM. But when you have these dojis kicking around, what we normally want to see is if we're going to buy it, we want to see a bright red bar to take a lot of guys out and then start ripping back through. When you have all these dojis, we don't have a lot of losing traders to trade against. But that being said, we'll see how we open up. We're still, pretty flat to start the new month. The healthcares, we're going to see they've been going down to start the week, and they're still down there, so potentially they continue. Financials are going to look similar to the indexes. The top of their broadening formations up in here. A lot of dojis. Real estates were weaker yesterday, so we'll see if they follow through or not, if things are weak. We'll see technologies looks just like the indexes. Industrials is going to look pretty similar to the rest, although it's a little bit stronger in here, and it does have a monthly signal that is going to start off the new month. Energies, they actually have some gaps up in there today, so some of those US oil, crude oil stuff coming back. If we look at gold and silver, gold will be opening 1 and silver is going to be opening double inside. Biotechs, you're going to have a scenario 3, so that's going to give us broadening formation on the daily there, and we also have this bigger triangle. So if we zoom it in here, that 3 is a new broadening formation getting started. We'll see the regional banks, KBE and KRE, going up into highs, looking just like everything else. Those little tiny broadening formations up in here on the dailies. Semis, gonna look just like the tech, closing slightly red yesterday. Same little broadening formations in here on the dailies. And if we keep going through, you'll see materials a little bit weaker than the rest. So really going into today, a lot of things will open scenario 1. Home builders pretty much the same as everything else. So the question is, how many 2s are we getting up or down today to actually get things going? If we go to the futures, we had some China news come out with Trump mentioned, but you're going to see this 3. Boom, there's your triangle or your broadening formation, and we've been stuck inside it since. So it looks something like this. And if we look left, completely stuck within these guys. Now, we'd prefer, you can see we're above the week open, above the day open, above the month open on the futures. We'd prefer to expand this higher simply because we have continuity to the upside. That would be ideal. But what we don't like to do is buy into recent highs here. So we'd prefer they triangle they out or stop some guys out first and then try and do that. If we go to the SPY, you can see we still have about 18 minutes to the open, but maybe we get this kicking pattern on the 15 to try and trigger some reversals into full time frame continuity. So if we can get that, we could try that right at the open, but if that fails, we're just gonna be an inside day, and that's just what we want to be aware of. But we'll be watching to see how we open there as we get closer. Qs is gonna look pretty similar. You can see we might have a kicking pattern in here. Try and come back through these guys on the Qs. The Dow Jones, a little bit similar. The IWM's gonna look a little similar, but slightly weaker compared to the rest. That being said, if we go to the things we've been trading, Palantir is gonna be opening flat. We're going to see an inside 4 hour there. And you're going to see what we did yesterday. So we had the triangle layout on the gap down, inside bar, 2-1-2 reversal, boom. And we'd like to see that follow through, take these guys out. If we go to Hood, this was one we posted on Twitter and we've been pretty vocal about. You're going to see the RevStrat week or the RevStrat day in here to time the bottom on Tuesday. Boom, right? This one's gapping up. So Hood this morning. To be a kicking pattern on the 60 to the upside. That's something we like to know about. And at this point, it has hit monthly magnitude, but we still have this on the quarter. Whenever we have a 2 down in green, we know it's attempting to go 3 to 66.91, and we have all-time highs at 85.00. And if you look at this chart, it's going to look similar to PLTR. And you're going to see it comes off all-time lows and then all the way right into all-time highs, which is the big broadening formation. You're going to see up, lower low, higher high, and then they go flying, right? So I think Hood has the opportunity to do the same thing, getting to the higher highs and then potentially keep going. So this is top watch for me this year, at least as we start the month off here. And I've got some longer terms on that. Outside of that, we will see some daily setups and gappers. And if you're in the YouTube chat and you got questions, just drop them in there. We live, friends? Yes, we are. You should be able to hear me if... I guess I never checked the volume. All right, but in the gappers, we're going to see TTD gapping up with some earnings, and it is through a previous range. So you're going to see all these guys who are short in here. So we'll see how that opens, and if that stays up, we'll have the 2-2 month, which is going to have its magnitude at 72.07. So a couple bucks a range to go after. And then after that, we're still going to be this bright red year, but reclaiming that will be a green quarter. So the rest of the quarter, but it's going to be disseminating the gap. And similar to PLTR, we like to get those signals. If we don't get the move today, we'll get it, later next week. Net. You're going to see net similar to the rest of the tech, hammer month it up. Magnitude to 149.16 and potentially an outside quarter to 177.37. It is a little bit stuck in there on the year, but we'll have some twos, so we'll see how that opens up today. DKNG. Slight gap up today. And it's going to be gapping right into last month's highs. So this is, in the gap and crap territory. Whenever you go into all these recent highs as a gap up, if you reclaim those, we could go outside of this whole range in one bar. And as far as a good example of that, to give you a very clear picture of what we're talking about, Williams-Sonoma is a good example. So you see recent highs, gap in recent highs, then boom, this bar is outside of all of this, pretty much everything on the left. So this can happen today in DKNG. We'll see if that starts coming in or not. Pins. We'll see pins just gapping up into previous range. We don't have any pivots to go after right away in the morning, but potentially we could start coming back through these guys. If you go on the month, still an inside month. So because it's a 1, right, if it starts coming back in on the gap, then maybe we go all the way back down, but it will be opening green, a little closer to a 2-up month. So we'll have our triangle drawn like this month, as long as that doesn't change this monthly continuity. If we go to lift, you'll see the 2-2 monther coming through the range. On the quarter, it's closer to going outside, and we're still an inside year. So, maybe they can get out of that, maybe not. You'll see this on the daily, like such. So they're coming back through this. Maybe we could take that out, and then, we'll see. Microchip. This is a pretty interesting monthly chart. So this monthly hammer works up there and be a 100% gainer. We'll see how the earnings reaction is today, and we'll follow through watching that in the Gapper universe next week. On the downside of the gaps, you'll see coin. So Bitcoin has been strong. Coin with its earnings, or not earnings. Let's see. So no earnings on coin. Slight gap down, right? Not as interesting. I'd prefer we have some earnings gaps in there, especially if the market's gonna be flat today. Or wait, yeah, it looks like that just loaded in. Okay, so they did miss earnings. So we'll have maybe a 2-2 day on coin to take this stuff out, and then maybe they come all the way the other way. So triangle, triangle, triangle going through there. Affirm, you'll see gap down today coming from exhaustion risk on the day into recent highs there. So we'll see how that works. You'll see it's negating the week and the month opens. So you'll have an outside week magnitude at 46.48. The month would be red. So maybe an outside month, depending on how weak that ends up being. We can see on the day, exhaustion risk would be 50.03. So we'll be aware of that if they want to gap down buy it off of exhaustion risk. Monster. So Monster, if we zoom out a little bit, you're going to see slight higher highs to all-time highs and then coming back into the range. So maybe that gets worse. Go to the month. You're going to see it maybe a 2 going 3 month. It'll open as a 2 up in red. We'll just see if that confirms or negates. Expedia. It's going to look similar. You can see gap up green to red on the month. Potentially the rev strat weak. So you can see anytime we're below 160.21, 144.20. So we'll see how that opens up. We don't got any nearby pivots to take out, but we'd love to see 144.20 in Expedia. And then HIMS, which has been on the Gapper universe. You can see how the gap up in here, the 2-2 day, boom, gap down by, boom, and they just ripped them up. Now, oops, they may have the shooter day on a Friday, trying to come back through this, and you can see it's after taking out all the weekly pivot targets in here from right there. So if we go to the month, see it's after hitting monthly magnitude. So we'll see. Right at the open, you'd have the 2-2 down. If that goes green, it'd be a 2 going 3. AI. Yep, AI is the 2-2 month, and you got magnitude up into there. So here's your triangle. And if you recall, we talked about it in here, boom. Then you had the 2-2 here, boom. Now another one. See if it goes again. That being said, as far as your daily signals today go, you'll have a triple inside day in Z-scaler, which is opening closer to the triple inside bar and up. And 3, 1, 1, 1, 2. On the month, Z-scaler is a 3-2 expansion month, so this could be a very explosive setup if you hold this morning. 234.54. If we go to CEG and the utilities, it's gonna be double inside. The utilities are a little bit weaker, so I'm gonna hold off on that to start. If we go to Reddit, this could become a really nice daily pivot machine gun. It is conflicted with the month and the week, so be aware of that. But if we could change the week, maybe we continue to come back through these guys. If we go to Netflix, it's been moving. You can see pretty hard. You got this corrective inside day, so potentially get this inside up today. It's going to open double inside, so I'll hold off until that breaks. And then in the Gapper universe, you'll have DoorDash inside day, which could rev strat or give us the 2-on-2 reversal. As far as bearish setups are concerned, AMD closer to the 3-2-2, and that would negate the month after some weekly exhaustion risk. With the Rost, going to be 2-2 day back down this morning, and could rev strat the week depending on how aggressive that rejection is. On the upside, really good setup. I believe a member posted Shopify from the gappers, so you can see if day 1 of the gap down by. Day 2, we could get 2-2 rev strat, pivot machine gun, all of this for an outside week to the upside, and that would occur not with full time frame continuity, but it'd be close to creating full time frame continuity. And you'll see we have stars there. So Shop and Reddit will be some nice pivot machine guns. Dash, just we have that high volatility with the inside bar. And then outside of that, what we've been watching, Hood, it's going to open 60 kicking pattern. So anytime that's green this morning, any 1 minute signal could send that flying even further very quickly this morning. And then DXCM, it's going to be opening as a 2260, coming from our macro video, if you recall this. The 2-2 month timing the bottom of the broadening formation reclaim. And this is from when we were teaching previously. Time of the bottom here, we'll get that short-term exhaustion at 93.60, but into the 150 range would be ideal. That'd be pretty neat for us. But our intermediate targets will be right in here. So if you did sign up for the scanner at think it's Stratalerts AI/beta landing. Yeah, so if you signed up to the scanner here, you're not going to get an email until the 12th, and you'll see down in here it says beta testing starts on May 12th. Enter your name now. So that is when you'll get the email. And so far, we're nearly at 1,000 people that have signed up for it. So we can't believe the the demand for the scanner and the interest in it. It's so awesome to see, and hopefully we can provide you guys with something that you really enjoy and is going to help you make money, is the main goal of it. So if you haven't signed up for it, I still suggest going to sign up. Anyone that's on that list will be given, I believe, a discount code. I could be wrong, but even if you don't make it into the beta group, I believe you'll get a discount code for being on that list to sign up for it. Yeah, it is going to change the game. We did have a little bit of data problems this morning, but we had a recent update that got pushed and likely did that. The thing I'm most excited for is getting those monthly timeframes on here and getting multiple timeframe scanning set up. We have so many beautiful ideas. One thing we're actually planning, so keep an eye out for this. One thing we're planning with the scanner is we're going to hop on, me and the main developer that I've been communicating with on the team we're working with to create the scanner. But we're going to hop on, me and the main developer, and we're going to discuss our ideas that we have in the works. And we're going to take your feedback, your ideas, your questions about the scanner, and also include that into future versions. We really want this scanner to be something that everyone can use, regardless of your strat community you're in or how you're trading the strat. It should just be useful, is our goal. So I'll make sure that is scheduled in advance, but please be there and help us make this better. And if you do end up being the first group to sign up from the beta list, then you're going to get access to all those updates more than likely before everyone else. So that's another benefit for being one of the first guys in. Tesla, yeah, I'll take a look. So Tesla, on a 2-day basis, you're confirming that to go up into here. So you're going to see the triangle out. Yeah, so it's actually getting tighter in here. Lower highs, slight lower low, then going for the higher highs there. And we're still an inside week. So I'd actually prefer Tesla just stay inside week, because you want that inside week up into the monthly 2-2 to rev strat the quarter. That's what you want. 5-day charts. Yeah, the cool thing, so like we do have a couple minutes here to the open, so just be aware of that. 5 minutes. Using the multiple day charts, what that does is it makes it so you don't have to identify broadening formations, because it just does it for you. That's the cool part, in my opinion. It's like if we go to a 4-day SPY, or let's say like a 3-day, you can see the rev strat creating that broadening formation in here without having to go to the daily and be able to draw it and see this is a 3 like this. If we go to like a 4 or 5 day chart, maybe they have it even clearer. Nah, they're just inside. I think one thing I do want to mess around with is creating, and I've already done this, but something that can identify the compound 3s, or it can just highlight all this and say that's a 3. Right, and then this goes 3 and it highlights all that. It's like that's a 3. That's a 3. That's a 3, right? So we could just have them on there. I think it's gotta be not that hard to do. I've tried to mess with it before. I'm not sure if I could even load it up here. Yeah. So you can see, for example, what this does is it's identifying outside bars on a 4-hour basis, and then it's tracking the broadening formation as it goes through this range. And instead of doing that, I think it'd just be better to go compound 3, compound 3, compound 3, and just have them all drawn on the charts. But that's something we're actually working on, auto broadening formation detection. It's going to be one of the things we do in the near future on the scanner, probably within the next, after version 2 is out, version 3. Shop PMG and Tesla top watch for you. Yep. It'd be nice if we could get shop to tick down first and then start going after it. Like a 2 down on the 60, go 3. All right, we got a few minutes to the open here. And before I forget, let me load all the screens up with our signals. I'll put Tesla in there since it seems like a lot of you guys are watching it for some reason, but we will see. Here's the open. SPY opens green inside 60. So you may have that 15, kicking pattern try and kick in, but we're still inside 60 inside day. It's going to open full time from continuity if it is green. Shop does go green on the day. It's going to have potentially a 15 or 2-2 reversal to start the day. We'll see. Tesla, you got that 15 pivot or kicking pattern, 60 kicking pattern and continuation. I know a lot of people are watching that right off the open. Hood on the kicking 60 starts red, but if it flips green, potentially those shorts get jammed. Shop is pretty close to a 15 up to start the day. So the only reversal we see to start the morning is QQQ 15 or 2-2 reversal, with likely Tesla being the culprit. Maybe some energies. Z scalar is a little bit closer to triple inside day down pivot machine gun. It's like Tesla does take last week's highs, continuation, which is taking last month's highs, so trigger machine gun, as some will say. For those trading D-Dog yesterday, off the morning 30 reversal, still good. 33.2 this morning. And if I saw that Tesla kicking pattern, I would have been more interested in it. Let's see what you guys are talking about now. Still not seeing any interest in the indexes, so it's really just a lot of natural buying, selling that we're going to be picking up on today so far. Hood is rev stratting the oneer. So Hood with the potential kicking pattern 60 to the upside. ZS stays an inside day, but reclaims all these previous lows. Maybe that could cause the daily inside up. Still a quadruple inside bar, 3-1-1-1-1. So we're going to hold off until that can change. Hood is back to the daily open off the rev strat oneer to negate the 60. Now kicking into 60 kicking pattern up if that can hold above the morning open here. Tesla off the monthly break is going to be closer to taking out 303.94, the monthly pivot target. Looks like semis are some of the things continuing today, opening twos up with OIH, XOP, XLE opening twos up. Financials inside, materials inside, industrials inside, tech is inside. Transports are opening pretty strong this morning, closer to the twos up with FedEx. Come on, Hood. So they're green on the day. They just got to hold that above this 54.92. If they can't, then we'll get triangle and we'll go back to low day. So you got to stay above those morning highs. And you'll see how the kicking pattern 60, they tried to sell it down and then boom, all those shorts are getting cremated here against full time frame continuity up. And we are going to be coming into monthly pivot target, which we need to stay above that as well, 54.84. Or else that becomes our exhaustion risk. Spies confirming the upside to start the day. Two up fivers, SPY and Qs. Still a lot of inside 60s we're seeing. Hood's pretty green off of that rev strat 1 minute, so now what you don't want to do is let that come back. Rev strat oneer negate the 60, needs to stay green. So if it were to come back all the way to the lows of this, we're out. We're not going to mess around there. Tesla 15ers confirm, or 5ers confirm the monthly signal in force. On the downside, we do see ROST from the 2-2 list to the downside kicking in, trying to cause a rev strat weak pivot machine gun day to the downside below all this stuff. So we'll see if that sets up later today. Hood to the highs, Tesla to the highs, not bad. I really wish I saw that Tesla kicker 60. You guys just kept saying it looks good, it looks good. That's why we need a talking signals, so we're very clear. Utilities are hitting yesterday's lows. So Duck is following through into its rev strat week PMG that we talked about yesterday. WEC is following through. AEP is really following through. 2-2 week down, coming into short-term exhaustion. MicroStrategy, yep, still got the quarter going. Zscaler red to green on the day, so after the reclaim, potentially get that triple inside bar and up. Spreads on Zscaler don't look the best. SPY is closer to the 15, kicking into gear with the Qs kicking in. Hood still going to the highs. You can see slight corrective oneer and then right back to high a day. And this is a beautiful trade this week. Couldn't be more happy about it. Zscaler is closer to a 3-2 reversal fiver to trigger the day. I'll just mind those spreads. If you're trading the weeklies, you know, maybe it'd be worthwhile. If you're going to go for Lotto Friday stuff, like a 237.5 call or something, or you could go 235, but you're probably not going to get your money back if you're wrong. PLTR is still coming back in on the 4 hour, and you can see back to the weekly guys in control and the monthly guys, so it kicks into full time from continuity down this morning. Tesla still hanging around the highs. Hood, a little bit of a oneer reversal at high a day. We'd still prefer that to just be corrective activity. Biggest problem here, SPY still 60 inside bar, Qs inside, Dow inside, IWM inside, which doesn't mean, you know, we're done for the day. What it does mean is on the second 60 of the day, if those are still scenario ones, we could get the scenario 2 to break those scenario ones. So we may have a simultaneous break on the second 60 of the day, which normally doesn't happen as an inside bar. So we'll keep an eye on that, but just means we have less evidence for stuff up or down this morning. CEG, potential rev strat day below 272.05 CEG. With the utilities, let's see how much evidence we have here. So if you look at the daily utilities, about 50% utilities to the downside, 60% real estates. So you have evidence for that to go 3, because the most 2s down in utilities today are to the downside. What the heck? I must have shook my... I must have actually shook it and it closed all my windows out. Let me fix this here. Still have Tesla near the highs. Still have Hood near the highs. Also on the gappers, we haven't been mentioning much of that, but TTD starts pretty green on the day, back through that pivot machine gun. So if we go to the day, you see it opens green, all these pivots, they're going for all of them today. Net is opening doji, DKNG is opening with a slight red to green move. So you can see they did reclaim a little bit. This is why we prefer not to trade right at the open, although you can. But now inside 5 up DKNG with full time frame continuity and a monthly signal. So DKNG's firm to start the day. Pins is also firm to start the day on the gapper list to the upside. Lift, you can see right into the top of your broadening formation for you to start the day. And microchip is flat to start the day. Coin did go scenario 3 to the upside, so they gapped it down into yesterday's lows, but then went green with full time from continuity now to the upside. So Lift, or not Lift, Coin is a RevStrat week in force, trying to trigger the month, confirming all the Bitcoiners. Not Lift, Coin. You can see it's exiting that daily broadening formation right now. Monster and a pretty monster gap down by this morning, but 3225ers back down potentially in Monster. Currently an inside tenor. Expedia starts as tenors, 2-2 back up on the gap down. And Hims on the gap down firms up a little bit. Currently an inside tenor. So far, Hood, you can see the triangle out this morning, the RevStrat winner, boom. Another triangle out, Hammer winner, boom, right back to the highs. So they're still getting there. Tesla, also still up at the highs. You'll see the slight corrective activity in here. Still a monthly signal. Zscaler does go inside day up. So it goes, what, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2 up. Now it does have to exit this mother bar on the day, this 3. So this needs to stay above that, or we need it above that. 234.54 if we're going to take this out, which is the current high of the week. Shopify does start as 30s, 2-2 down, starts as 60s, 2-2 down, some PMG. So we'll see if they triangle out and then look for a signal back up. SPY, green to red, but still an inside 60, so they're chopping them up. If we go to the US 500, still stuck in here. Now you can see the day is green, the week's green, month's green. We'd prefer, long red bar and then continuity back the other way. Now, since we're a mother bar, it might take longer than we would prefer. We'll see. But this, you can see equilibrium ticks up, reclaims it, mother bar problems. And then this 3, if we can get out of that, then we can start expanding and, making this range bigger. Second 15s of the day open. Hood is still above its open on the 15, confirming. SPY is inside down. Qs is 2-2 down. Dow Jones is inside down. IBM is inside. So they're still floundering a little bit across the market here. On the inside day list, Dash is up at the highs and in force. Reddit is an in-force inside day. It has already hit its initial pivot target, so we'd want to see them triangle out first. Tesla, Hood, those are still good. Rost is confirming 2 down 15 again, confirming the 2-2 day on a Friday. Reddit does have an inside 5 to try and confirm its daily break, is currently an inside 15, so high level of defense. So both Tesla and Hood are confirming their 15s, 2 up again to start the day. Energies are 15ers back down after gapping up to start the day. So we can see if we do go to the scanner here. We'll put this back in tab where it should be. To start the day, you can see 66 and 74% of the market's 15ers are to the upside, which I'm not sure if these are actually accurate right now. But SPY, Qs, Dow Jones, IBM, they all are green on the 15. Still just inside 60, chopping them up. It's mostly these mother bar problems on the futures that we're not too interested in messing around with. Hood is ripping. Yeah, baby. And you see they want the stock. They really want the stock, do they not? We are running into 56 psych. These indexes are nothing this morning. Blech. Nothing. ZS did break the day, but is not enforced. So you're playing with fire there if you can't get above that daily break. Simply because when you get those ones, we know you can get that scenario 3 against. So if it breaks unsuccessful like this and starts coming back, that's a potential 3 once that starts changing anything. So you just gotta be careful. You're playing those multiple inside bar breaks on these daily time frames. We do see the staples this morning. The ranges are small, so what that means is it's less likely to work, but it is a gap down buy, potential 3-3 day in the staples. They've been really chopping them up recently, though. If we go to the daily, you can see just it's a mess, and then 3, potential 3 again if they're going to get that range bigger. It's coming off this very slightly lower low in here, so this is the range. So ZS does go 2 up, but red. So it became 2, and now it's trying to reject that. Shopify is still 60s down to start the day, and technically full time frame continuity, so we're not seeing any evidence of the buyer at this point. We have short-term exhaustion risk on the 60, so if the triangle were to start kicking in the other way on the second 60 of the day, you have triangle out and then take the day up, which we'll see, if they're strong enough to do that. At 56, psych, you go inside fiver on hood to confirm or negate full time frame continuity. Tesla still up at the highs at the slight corrective fiver, and they're still confirming. I took a small position on Zscaler on the green to red move on the day. The spreads aren't the best there. See if that has updated. Yeah, I'm not sure if these 15ers are accurate. And Yeah, I'm not sure if they're accurate here. We did have a data problem this morning on the scanner after a recent update, so I'm just gonna be careful and trust in that too much right away. Well, with the vacation season going on, airlines, they did start the day pretty strong. We'll see if that buyer were to come back later today or not. Cruise lines are looking very similar. They kind of push up and then come back. On the US 500, you need to get your scenario 3 on the 60, so boom, there's your triangle. Notice big 3, mother bar stuck in the middle. Slight higher high, slight lower low, still stuck in the middle. So how are you getting out of this triangle? You want to stay below this or stay above that? See Shopify on the 60s down, they're still sticking down, so nothing good there. Tesla, a little bit of shooter on the 5er, potentially some seller or some buyer exhaustion there. Hood, inside 5 momentum hammer. Oh yeah. And this is where if you've been trading this all week and you start hitting these signals we're talking about today, you can use that gains you already got to try and play this stuff. Because if Hood goes measured move, it'd be up another buck off of just this 5er signal. So we'll see. Z-scaler on the short, green to red move on the day. Is starting to tick down a little bit. It's still a 3-1-15er, so we'd like to see a 3-1-2 reversal in about 5 minutes. And again, it was a small trade or small position, so we'll see how that works out. We also have Dash on the gapper list, 3-1-15er in about 5 minutes setting up. Or not gapper list, inside day list. CEG is 15er, potentially rev strat day with most utilities going down. At this point, XLU is a inside 15. Staples are a 2-2-15 back up. So we do have some firmness in the defensive part of the market today, which does make sense. You know, they bought everything yesterday. It looks like there's some profit taking of a lot of tech names today. So there's just rotation. As far as where that's going to be, in the staples, I think it's Mike Monster this morning. You're going to have the 3-1-15er in Monster, which could cause triangle expand off a gap down buy. So we have 15er Monster and 15er Z-scaler. We'll see. Reddit's going to be inside 15 as well. Look at Hood, 5er momentum hammer, boom, those buyers are still there. Tesla, no 5 reversal, so they're still staying good. We nailed Hood, did we not, boys and girls? Look at this continuity. So this is what we mean when we say winners continue to win. Look at how far you'd have to move to change the week or the month, even the day at this point. It's gonna be hard to turn that around. Good luck. UNH the whole week? Yeah. We saw there was a simultaneous break in healthcare to start the week. UNH was one of those 2-2 days. You can see Monday 2 up, Tuesday 2 down. That's 2-2 on a Tuesday. Notice it occurred below the month open, so that's full time firm continuity, which is that algorithmic seller you're seeing. LLY was also part of that. You'll see inside in here. And for some reason, I don't know if anyone's better at lock vertical cursor by time. Finally. Yeah, but Monday you'll see LLY double inside day, and then boom. There's also Amgen, which was the one we played. You see inside down on Tuesday. So it's a weekly rev strat, which hit exhaustion. Wow, they like Tesla and they like Hood. SPY's rev stratting. You'll see on US 500 right off the bottom of your 60 triangle, hammer fiver. So they firm it back up. And that's what we want to see, right? And I'll see this, some bright red bars, which were barely on the 30-minute, but maybe that's enough to get it going back in the direction of full time frame continuity. We still have this inside 60 SPY setting up in a half hour. You will have an inside 30. So if you are very, very highly interested in being long the SPY, you could try that 3212, right? With a rev strat 15 to cause it in about a minute. Or you can be patient for those 60s. It just depends on your risk tolerance. Palantir, you're going to see this. A 15er triangle day out. With the inside 15 for the 30-minute flip for a hammer 30 PLTR. So here's your 15er. Back through these guys. It is an inside day, so if that doesn't work, you'll be stuck as a 1, but we know the buyers are pretty aggressive in there, at least as of yesterday. So we'll see if they come back. Hood to the highs. Zscaler is kind of back to the daily open. We'll see if it goes inside 15 green. I'm just gonna cut it. It's a small size. Boeing with the monthly in force, momentum hammer week. We will see the 15er 222 setting up in there, one of the stronger industrials. And here's the second 30 of the day. So SPY double inside 30. If Rutro Q's double inside 30, IDBM Dow starting as double inside 30. Hood second 30 of the day. This is where you got to play defense, right? If they go red and you're an intraday guy, you got to defend that. If you're not an intraday guy, if you're a swinger, then obviously you don't got much to worry about unless they change that. But we can see they do some profit taking to start the 30s. Intraday guys, that's where you defend and reduce or exit. Tesla, they start as inside in red, so same thing, profit takings there, and that's where you defend. We have about 232 inside 30s. Actually, we'll see if it updated or not. Yeah, so it did update. Looks like they updated quicker today, so that's cool. You can see to start the new 30s, about 70% are twos down, 70% NASDAQ twos down, so changing a little bit there, but honestly, I think the stats are, something's going off today. Something is very off. Because if I go like 74% utilities two down, you can see, are these actually twos down? No, they are not. The previous 30 was, so it looks like they haven't updated yet. At least the stats haven't. Tesla 32 up again, reconfirms the month and does take monthly magnitude. The magnitude of the quarter is to go up into here around 439.74, so you still got a lot of ways to go on that, given no reversal against. Hood on the new 30, you are still seeing profit takers in here. Nowhere near reversal though. And you'll see this is the first fiver down of the day, so we'd like to see that as corrective if we could change that 30 back to green. SPY does go 15, rev strat to start, Q's 15's up, IDBM, Dow Jones also, IDBM is still inside. So they firm up a little bit, right? That could trigger the 30 off the SPY. Qs could trigger the 30 off the 15. So you might have 15s into 30s there on the indexes to start the morning. You'll see the US 500 as your triangle has told you. Up, down, reclaim, boom, go the other way. So this is what you can expect when you are mother bar to this stuff. You're going to triangle out multiple times. So you see triangle, 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 right? Triangle, triangle. There's over and over. But if you can get out of that, so we can blow these highs out and stay out, then we could start thinking about yesterday's highs. Hood, still 5ers down, so still 30s red. Z-scaler is closer to the inside, 312, 15's down. Monster, nothing. So if Z-scaler's inside 15 down, we could use that as a reason to add to the small position. Given the spreads, you just gotta be aware of that. Even if we try to get a stop in there to manage our risk, it may not work out. So risking it for the biscuit on that one if you're gonna play it. Gold is 30s down to start the day. Silver is about to be 30s down to rev strat the day from the looks of it. Yeah, so 32.2 silver to rev strat the day. If you look at XAG USD, silver is technically still just an inside day. We'll see slight higher highs and then 30s down, but it's a 1. Hims, it is currently inside 15 down, not in force, but it's currently inside 30, so there's nothing we can do there. You need 2s. It's like Tesla's a 2 on the 30. We need 2s on the 30. That's what we want. It's like DXCM could be a 2-2-30. That would be something we want. That'd be causing an outside 4-hour. Staples, 5er hammers, so maybe Monster can get that 15 going. The gappers. Second 30 of the day, PLTR still has a seller in there. So still full time from continuity down there, no change. Z-scaler 15ers 312 down, trying to rev strat the 3-day inside bar pattern. So we have 9 minutes to try and cause these guys to go into a losing position, take all these guys out. And then we're going to run out of that signal. So we want to see that break and go, ideally as quick as possible. We'll see. Again, it's kind of, gambling in there just because of those spreads aren't the best. Tesla on the kicking pattern 60, the month trigger, and the rev strat quarter is still just at the highs. Hood, after triangle layout, is firming up here on the 5-minute. So you can see inside bar pokes up, rev strat pokes down, then hammer after corrective 5er. That's what we look for. And that would set up the 15 momentum hammer on Hood. Z-scaler did break the 15 down, but it's not staying in force. So you can see Hood after corrective activity, they're just bringing them back through. Still got 2 minutes for that 5er, either to go 3 or give us a 2-2-2. Or a 2-2 back up, I mean. Netflix, we don't trade double inside snare once. It needs to be a 2. Bring it on, Hood. Those sellers just countered. Beautiful. Tesla's making you cry happy tears? Yeah. Oops. So to start the day, we are getting close to about an hour into the day. The strongest stuff is going to be 2 up to start the day. So you'll see in this, we can filter out. You see PLTR. Whoa, what? What? Okay, yeah, there's a big problem. Maybe I need to do a hard reload. I didn't do that today. Okay, yeah. Out Tesla. That's a pretty solid Lotto Friday there. Problem is, you might want to get back in if that goes 2225er. This hood 15er is going to look beautiful. In about 3 minutes, it'll close out. Well, if Tesla's going to be up 30 points today, it's going to be up 15 points first. So we'll keep an eye on her for you. And think, right? So it depends mostly on these 60s on the indexes, because if SPY's inside down, then everything that's 2 up is going to go inside and red and bring them back in. But if SPY goes inside up, simultaneous break, Qs, simultaneous break, Dow Jones, IBM, Tesla should keep flying. So we'll keep an eye on that. But whenever you get all these simultaneous inside bars, if they break down, anything going down has no reason to turn around. It'll keep going. And then vice versa. If they break up, anything already going up should just keep going up. So we want to keep that in mind. We're going to get more evidence in about 15 minutes once these breaks occur. And if they do break down, the biggest thing is we're nowhere near reverse in the day. So even then, there might be some things on the downside. Maybe utilities, right? But even those are setting up the other way. Staples, those are still a little closer to 60s back up. So we're just going to have a ton of inside bars. You see energies are 30s down to start the day. Gap up sell in the XLE. XOP. OIH is a 2 going 3. Shopify is still cratering off the 60s down with no reclaims. But very good trade overall. One thing I want to recommend, though, I'm going to say it one more time. Don't say a chart looks good or this, that. Tell me what the signal is. I think I just brain farted. I didn't even open the 60 on Tesla. But we need to know the signal, because then we can manage risk. Without a signal, we have no idea what's going on. Hood opens double inside 15, so it's still firm. Tesla inside 15, still firm. It's like industrials when 30's down, so a little bit weaker in the industrials to start this morning. Normally tells you Norfolk Southern, maybe some of the Lockheed Martins. Yeah, LMT is shooter day, 2-2 down. NOC, their pivot machine gun bringing them in. RTX is a 2-2 day down, so a lot of the defense stuff is coming back into this morning. Some relative weakness there. Zscaler 15ers reconfirmed, so still good. It's just taking its sweet time. And you'll see the inside 33.1 is setting up, so we'll see how that goes. In the US 500, there's still, you see all this stuff. They tried to make the highs, but when you have this really tiny triangle, it's less likely to actually work. So you'll see they make higher high, they reclaim it, boom, new triangle starts over. Higher highs, reclaim it, boom, new triangle starts over. So boom, 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 boom. Stuck in the middle. Maybe you could get it something like this if they reclaim that, but it's really just guessing when you're in the middle of these ranges like this. And the way you do it, if you're going to trade the middle of this, is you play the reclaim here, you take your target one and reduce, guarantee a win. Then you can hold it if you want. And then when it reclaims this stuff or this stuff, you can reduce again, or trying to short it. But we're not here to do that. Tesla Momentum Hammer 10er setting up. Zscaler on the 15 reconfirming. They are starting to hit the lows, so we're closer to taking out the morning lows, which should trigger the PMG of these guys. That'd be a nice thing to see here. And I apologize, we haven't talked or seen much of the chat yet this morning. We'll discuss any questions or concerns you have in the chat on YouTube shortly. We focused on the premium chat this morning to see what they're all watching. Reddit, double inside down 15ers, setting up the shooter 60. Yeah, so maybe shooter 60 to rev strat the day. It would have appeared a full time frame continuity. It is a 2 down, it's a 3-2-2 on the week, so you have reason to believe that could work. Now what you'd want to see is SPY simultaneous break with that 60, right, if they're really going to bring them in. DoorDash will also be shooter 60 inside 31230 pivot machine gun for a rev strat day with Reddit on the inside day lists. DXCM, if the market were to break up, you have Hammer 60 full-time firm continuity DXCM. On the gappers, coin, it's gonna be a little closer to a 3-2-2-30 back into the range here. So you can see they did make the new highs exhaustion risk, and that change in 30 continuity brings them in, changing that month back to red. And if that went 3-2-2, it'd negate this all into full time from continuity. Would have been nicer to have a signal up in here, but we'll see. Affirm on the gappers inside 30 with a 2-2 day, 2 going 3 week, 2 up in red month, so full time for continuity. Affirm gappers. DKNG will be an inside 30 from exhaustion risk, which could cause a 60 down if that works. We'll see. It's a little bit of mother bar problems. TTD is nowhere near coming back. Maybe a 2 up in red 30, but you're nowhere near changing that day. So US 500, you can see the 5 minute, they get outside of the bottom of this triangle. So where's that trying to go? Change the day and take this out, 5, 6, 5, 7. If it fails, reclaim and you're trying to go back the other way. So we'll have to see, but that is a 1-3-2 down 60 minute on the futures. So they're trying to get out of that. This is slightly prior to the 60 change. We'd prefer those stay inside for the next 9 minutes. But we'll see the 30s inside down SPY, Qs inside down, Dow Jones inside down, and IBM is 2 going 3. So you got simultaneous 30s to the downside. Zscaler off your inside 312 reversal 15er has hit its magnitude at 231.26, and you have further pivot machine gun targets on Zscaler all the way down into potentially 226.54 if that rev strat kicks in. Hood when inside 15 down on the second 30 of the day, so trying to change what we know to be true. And this could be profit taking at the end of the week. So we did get a nice move up, second 30 of the day, we failed to change that. And now going into the rest of today, we may see some profit takers show up. In Tesla, you're gonna have a 15er at the highs as well into the 60 flip. So we'll be watching Dash inside 3130 on the flip. We'll be watching Reddit shooter 60 on the flip. And you'll have Rost potential 2230 on the flip. And if things firm up, then we'll be looking at DXCM and the 60s back up. All the energies will be potential 60 gap up sell, 60s 2-2 back down in the XLE, XOP, and OIH, which will tell you FANG from daily exhaustion risk, FANG, rev strat 60, XOM maybe for a 2 go 3 day. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. Still getting over a pretty bad cold. Oxy could be the 60s back down as well from the top of the Broadening Formation in here. So all the energies simultaneously. And the way simultaneous breaks work, so like Qs and SPY inside 30s down, you can just take the break, but your risk is going to be that reversal of that. Since we're still in inside 60 in about 7 minutes, we want to see if the 60s break down. And we just want to be very aware. It can be simultaneous breakdown and try and change things, taking out yesterday's lows, right? But if it fails to do that, it'll be rev strat up with full time frame continuity. So if we take the break down, let's say we take this 30 here, doesn't work, we need to reverse, take a small loss, take it back up with full time frame continuity and make it back. So we'll just be aware of that. But we are seeing most of the market setting up to the downside on the next 60 open in about 7 minutes. And doesn't mean it has to. We'll be minding that new open and mind the flip. Zscaler puts, looks like they're up decent for now. And I'm personally not using weeklies, I'm using next week's, but most people are imagine using Friday expiration, so it's probably gonna be a nicer move for you guys in like the 230 puts. PayPal, it's been a great week, let's see it. Oh yeah, nice 3-2 expansion you got there, boom, boom. Still hasn't taken these guys out. Hims 3-2 on the 15er. Nah. You have to know how much evidence you have, right? The whole market right now is inside 30s down. We're not going to take 30s up right now. You're either playing that simultaneous break on indexes or you're playing the weakest stuff you can find. We see Netflix, or not Netflix, CEG, we mentioned the utilities, was the 2215 to rev strat the day. It's trying to go 1-3, take these guys out in there. Very similar to Zscaler. Right, 1 ticks up, failure, 3. And we told you, right, when it starts coming back in there, that's potential 3. It's trying to change what's happening. Now, we got yesterday's lows to target in here. And then we'll have to see if it stays out of the lows of that, or else it could go 3 again. 4 minutes to the change, and I'll take a look at the YouTube chat now. How to draw broadening formations is pretty simple. You look and you say, okay, well, from right to left, where's our scenario 3? So if we go to like a 2-day on SPY, from right to left, where's our scenario 3? These 2 bars, a 3 to that. This is your broadening formation. That's it. You go on a 60-minute. All of these bars from here up into here, these are scenario 3. That's your broadening formation. Lower lows to this, higher highs to this. It's the opposite. Just think the opposite of an inside bar. So if we go to like Tesla on a daily basis, like we said in the morning, right? It's trying to take this out, and then you have to see. But these bars, these 2 bars outside of that, that's a scenario 3. And if we zoom all the way out, this would be the triangle that we're instantly in right now. And then if we draw right to left here, this is also a triangle. These 3, or these bars go outside of that. All of these bars go outside of all of these bars. So there's going to be more than one. What matters is you want the biggest one you can find. Which is why when you're intraday trading, if we go to like the US 500, like we said, we don't like trading in the middle of this. We want to get out of it and stay out of it. So like we said, right when it got below here, where's that going? There. Because once they start expanding, getting bigger, then we can start talking about things happening. Versus, you'll notice this is a 3 to this stuff, but it's stuck inside of this. This is an inside bar. All of this is a scenario 1. And then you'll see all of this is a 3 to all of this stuff on the left, but it's still an inside bar to this. right? And then the inside bar breaks down here. This is the breakdown of an inside bar. It goes 3, 1, and then it breaks here. So we're just looking at the threes. But if you're playing intraday, you have to know how big is it and where is it then trying to go. And we mentioned your simultaneous 30 break SPY takes the 60s 2 down. The break is still good, and you're going to have a little bit of a $1.65 move here on the SPY. Qs, your inside 30 simultaneous breakdown, still good. Goes about $2 there for you. Dow Jones, still good. It's about 90 cents, so not as much there. IDBM did break the 30s rev strat, so same thing, still good. We're gonna have the new 60s opening. Given we had previously a lot of inside 60s, now all of those 60s are 2s down, so we're probably gonna lack signals. So mind the flip. If that flip opens green, we're gonna defend heavily. And if we look at the US 500, you're gonna see the broadening formation here. 3 mother bar. Remember this 3. Get out of that. Boom. That's going there. Takes this out, and now it has to stay down there. That's the key. If you can get out of the range and stay out, so if we stay out of this, then we can come back through all this stuff. These lows, these lows, these lows. So below that, you gotta stay down below that. That'd be our thought process. Tesla goes 15ers off the highs. You see hood on the 15 down. Boom, they bring them back in. So we're gonna mine that 60 shooter, and that's either for profit taking or if you want to flip it short, you can do either. For those that have been trading with us from the beginning of the week when we bought it on Tuesday. Z scalar, your magnitude's been reached. Boom, 15. Notice 3, 1 gets out of it and stays out. Boom, takes all these guys out. See how that works. CEG, then right into the lows. So here's our triangle. Like this. See the 2-2-15er. Boom. Now it needs to stay out of this for a 3-2-60 to try and get that daily outside bar. So let's see. And if we go and take a look at your statistics, you see the stats. Wow, they changed the button here. Wow, this is pretty neat. Oh yeah, that's so cool. Okay, so, oh my gosh. I don't know if this update's accurate yet, but I said I want to show how many 2s and 2s going 3 there are. So 2 up, I imagine these are all red. These are all green, but then there's a few 2 up and reds. This is so cool. We're gonna have, wow, that's so exciting. All right, mind the flip, boys and girls. So the reason the flip matters is because it changes what you know to be true or confirms it. At this point, SPY is closer to a 2 down. We're still above the week month open. But at this point, since we're closer to continuing down, we prefer it continue down to change that. And if that works, we would take the day reversal down. But since we're a 1, it's currently doing nothing. Any short seller we had evidence of previously, we have no evidence right now. It's profit taking. So at this point, that is where the market's going to firm up unless that can become a 2 to the downside. And you'll see the US 500 change in continuity right here by going green, reclaiming the mother bar. So this could go completely the other way. Simply because of that change in continuity. Now, is it anywhere near reversing this 15? No. The 5er at this point? No. So we'll see if we close an inside 5er here. But you can see, right, how much continuity you actually have. It's like the week, the day, the hour, they're red. But if this 30 were to change the day, it could change the week, could change the hour. So it needs to stay red. We want to stay below all this stuff if we're going to get the sell. 5er's back up Tesla, so they firm up on the second 60. They are an inside 60, but the buyer's back. Hood is back to inside 60 firm. Z scalar goes inside 60, inside 5er at the lows. So I'm going to use that 5er as my, if it goes inside up, I'm going to get out. Inside down, you could add or hold. CEG inside in green. So if you played the 15ers down in the utilities there, that's where you defend it with a stop or reduce. So you see that 30 break, they're just selling, boom, dead in its tracks. It's just done. So now what on the indexes? And what we like to say is when you get a simultaneous break, unless it reverses, we want to hold it. Now, since we know we have no signals right now, we're an inside day. What I'd prefer is like if you took it down, reduce it, or make sure you have a stop that's not, you're not going to lose money if it does come back. And by reducing, you actually can increase the size of your stop. So if you take it from here to here with 5 contracts, if you take 3 of them off, your stop can be the daily open. And if they're going to puke all day, right, then you're in. That's it. And no risk. You just walk away, you go golf. That's what I'm going to do later today around noon. And that's it. Now, if they are going to come back, we need to see a signal to do it at this point. We're still just a 1. So we'll see. Inside 5 or SPY going to set up. Qs inside 5 will set up. Dow inside will set up. IWM inside bar will set up. And you can see how these triangles are just small. Go to IWM. You can see tick up, tick down, slight higher high, reclaim, slight lower low, inside bar to reclaim again. But we'll be an inside 60, which makes that more difficult. Zscaler, about to go 63, 2 down continuation for the puker. Anytime you're below that, it's an expansion of a scenario 3, just like we saw in the US 500. When you get outside of that 3 on the 60 here, it expands, boom, takes these guys out. And it's what we want to look for on ZS, ideally, if we're going to get a big payday on that one. D-Dogs, 3 260s down, reclaiming last week's highs. Could negate the month. D-Dog, 3-2 down 60s. D-Dog. Reddit is 60s down, like we were talking about. Did come off the 30s, but your rev strat in the day Reddit. CEG is closer to a 3-2 down 60. We'll see. So you got some confirming, and we could see how many expansions of those 60s are happening, which is really cool. So if we go to signal, 60s recently open. 3-2 expansion, 2 down. And so we had 30 expansions going. So these are all the things following through with an aggressive sell because the scenario 3 shows aggression. So we could, go for the reddest ones, MPWR, KLAC. See what those look like. They are 3-2 down, but we want to come back through a range, kind of like Zscaler. We have this pivot to trigger this, to trigger this. This is what we want. So we have all these pivots to actually come back through. Or Reddit, right? Not a ton of pivots, but you have the ref strat day kicking in. Shopify 60s reconfirm. So they're still kicking in the full time from continuity down. SPY, here's your 30s down. So they reconfirm. So you get to hold your runners. Qs reconfirms. Dow reconfirms. IWM reconfirms. How much evidence do we have of the sell at this point? Well, 30% of 60s down, 45% of the Qs 30s down, 50% of the 15s down. So a lot of stuff reconfirming, not everything, but you got a good chunk of them. What we like to see is like 80%, because once you have 80% of the market going in one direction, you're not reversing that, not very easily at least. So about 500 bucks on Zscaler. It was a small position, but because I added to it on the 15 inside down, now it's a big position, or at least a bigger position. It is about 50% gain in next week's contracts. The weeklies are probably over 100% by now. I imagine even more than that, but very nice there. Mostly swing trade. Nope, we do everything, literally everything. We'll invest, we'll swing, we'll buy crypto, we'll short the VIX, we'll do whatever we want. It's just wherever the movement is, because if you don't have movement, you're not gonna be able to trade the strat. Which is why we're so very aware when we're inside like this, and we're like, yeah, it's like, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. Then it expands, we're like, you can try that. Because now you can see you get all this directional movement. This is what you want to see. And if we look at the 60 on the futures, notice how that triangle is expanding. We're staying below this stuff. So that is a good thing for a short trader. Back through all this previous range, we could literally go to the lows of the week. And we could take it all the way down here if this aggressive seller sticks around. And at this point, how much of the market's rejecting? Well, 50% of the Qs. Looks like a lot of energies so far, nothing. 50% of tech. So that's a good chunk of the market coming in. And honestly, I'd expect that number to higher, but 67% accused. So it's mostly tech names, right? And that's notable because that tells you have more of the tech reversing, which normally isn't a good sign. And we do not see them buying staples or utilities right now, so this could be like a big wipeout. And did you hear us talk about that simultaneous 30, right? That was the key there. Then you could reduce it, right? And now that's going, you're in. Let them do their thing, go golf. Every morning you get one of those and you have a good day. Z-scaler coming into its pivot targets, negating into full time frame continuity down. Ruh-roh. So it could wipe them out even further, right? And this is why we just create winning positions. That's the whole goal, because no one knows if this is going to go 230 to 215 in one day, right? But you can know if it's going to go outside day from here to here, and then pivot machine gun into here, and then if they're going to drop it, another 10 points, you're already in, right? That's what we're looking for, and we're doing this in a full time frame continuity. So when you do that, good things tend to happen. We'll see if that gets a lot better later today. Tesla 30 shooters down, coming off the morning highs for the country western. Buy it up and sell it down. Yeah, Reddit is 3.2, right? On the gappers, you had the 2.230, right? And that sets up the 3.260 because this is a broadening formation here, like this. Boom, boom. 3 and then 2 expansion. Send it. So we had a question, does taking the break on the 15 or on the 60, not the 15, make for a stronger trade? It's simply, it's not, is it stronger or weaker of a signal? It's how long is the signal going to last? Because if you take a monthly signal, you have 30 days. If you take a 15 signal, you have 15 minutes. So compared to a monthly, you have 15 minutes. That's like nothing, right? You take it and then 15 minutes later, it's gone. So when we look at like Hood, for example, you'll see we have the kicking pattern 30. For 30 minutes, we have that. Then the new one opens and it goes red. Defend, defend, defend. Get out, get out. Bump your stops up. Make sure you don't lose. Because it only lasts 30 minutes. Versus a daily signal, Z-scaler. The second this goes red, that doesn't change all day. We've got 6.5 hours. Right? So it's not how strong or weak it is. It's how long do you have. And the reason that matters is because, like we showed here on the SPY, this inside 30 signal, that lasts for 30 minutes. Since we're looking at all 4 time frames, what would we say? Well, this 30 for 30 minutes, the daily, we have nothing. It could become a 2-2 reversal here, which is what we're looking for if we're going to take this out. 561.67. But at this point, we have no signals. The week, we don't have a signal. It's just doji doing nothing. The month, it is a hammer month, but unless it's above this, there is no signal. So at this point, we have no signals. The only signal we would have is the 30 signal. So this lasts for 30 minutes and then boom, signal exhaustion. We have 0 signals going anywhere. So we need to see more signals kick into gear. So if this goes inside 30 down simultaneously, we can say given no reversal against, meaning lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. It could trigger the day. So we can take it. Our stop can go here or the open of the 30. And then we can hold it, or you could reduce it here, or you could just hold it, right? Just depends on your risk management and what you're doing. But if it takes the day down, now we have the rest of the day below that, right? And then maybe it negates the week and month opens and we have full time frame continuity. If that happens, we'll take this out. So it's a matter of how many signals do you have at any point in time, because signals will tell you when price is going to do something. So if we go to the Hood, this month, Hood is a 2-2 month. This signal hit its target at 54.84. This week, Hood is a 3, so that's a broadening formation. We can draw this out if we would like to. Today, there is no signal today. So where are the signals going to be? We only have the monthly signal, which is all month, but intraday is where those signals are going to occur. So the 2-2 rev strat 15 in the morning, boom. They confirm it another 15 minutes. New 30s open inside 15 signal. For 15 minutes, that 15 counters what the month is doing. So when this breaks, we don't have that monthly seller. As far as we know, they're not there, not on this 15-minute bar. Then it continues, the day goes red, that monthly buyer, I mean, but that monthly buyer is no longer here today for below this. Because if they were taking the offer today, this month, this week, and today, we'd be back above 54.91. Because if they're taking the offer, the stock's going up, be above its open. So all those signals matter, how long they last matter, and then changing that continuity matters as well. So hopefully that answers your question to the fullest extent I can. Zscaler, you've taken out all nearby pivot targets on the day, taken out 228, and that's a beautiful trade there. About $600 for me there, and we still have, we got the rest of the day. So all you do is you let it puke. FTFC is the month, week, day, and 60-minute groups. So if we're above, so meaning the last price traded is above all 4 of those opens, it is full time from continuity up. There's no evidence of a seller at that point in time. The only indication you could say is that price may reverse, but at that point, there is no evidence of a seller. And then vice versa. If the last price traded is below the 4 opens, then we have 0 evidence of a buyer, and at that point, price is definitively going down. The only thing you could indicate would be to say, price may reverse, but at that point, there's no evidence it's going to reverse. So if we go to Zscaler, at this point, we have no evidence of a buyer, right? The day, the week, the month, all red. The 60-minute red. Now, the thing is, continuity changes. So if the 60 were to open and go green in 45 minutes, at that point, we'd have evidence of a 60-minute buyer, and we wouldn't have evidence of that seller, although the day, the week, and month would still be red. So we have to be aware the 60 determines control, which means it determines which groups have control at any point in time. So if we go to SPY. When SPY went red on the 60 here, the day was red. So the 60 and daily groups were selling. We had no evidence of a weekly or monthly buyer at that point, which is where it sells off, because the seller has control. The new 60 opens, it goes 2 down. At this point, we still don't have evidence of that weekly, monthly buyer. The only thing we could say is maybe it reverses, right? We can't say it has till that changes. And that's where the signals come in. So the signals will cause the movement within that continuity. So if we go to like a 10-minute, this inside bar on the 10-minute could change that continuity and cause movement back up, which would reclaim this, changing the 60 to green, and then you'd have evidence of the weekly, monthly, and 60 buyer at that point, although it'd be a scenario 1 on the 60. So what we want to do is take signals back into full time frame continuity. So in Zscaler, you can see like a shooter tenor. This shooter 10-minute goes into the day, the 60, and then right down into here, the week and month opens. So back into potentially full time frame continuity if that worked, right? And there's times where you can take it right into full time frame continuity. So like Hood this morning, or actually we'll do Tesla's, maybe a better example. But Tesla, when this opened 60 up, the week, the month, the day, the 60 were green. Everyone's a buyer. And guess what? These guys are short into that. So they're going to get blown out of their shorts, which is what we saw on Hood and Tesla this morning. Zscaler has firmed up, so this is a good place to take your profit. And if you're just, one and done today, that's perfectly fine. So this is literally my only trade today. I was trying to just make sure that I was being accurate here. But you can see, so like this was my small position, the initial one. This is when the 15-minute broke down again, 5 minutes after the new 30 had opened. And this was my cover right here for 495. So that was my trade today. Probably could have a better cover down at the lows here, but that is what we got. And obviously there's more than just one trade today, but when we're streaming, normally I have to cut down on those. The SPY 2-2 reversal. The daily. Well, what we don't, so this is what we want. We want signals to trigger signals, and people don't like this. But when you take, like if you just take the daily break, it's a doji, right? So maybe it doesn't go right away. Versus we want signals that go right away so we can manage our risk efficiently. So why take the daily break down here when you could take the simultaneous 30 down that would cause the daily given the 30-minute doesn't reverse? It's kind of like, imagine this. So we're going to use your brain here. So imagine this. You have a highway, right? And we'll say the highway's going this direction. On that highway, let's just say there's like some banners. Like, you know when they open a new city or something and they have to cut the banner, the big long banner that's across it. So let's just say you have banners that are going across this highway. Or like on a race, right? When you finish a race, you run through the banner at the end and break it. So imagine that you have a ton of banners on the highway. And you get on the highway and you start driving towards those, right? This is what the 30 and 60 is. So this is the highway. This is like the bigger move. Which direction is it going in? So if you have a 30 signal, let's say we have a 2 down, 2 up reversal. When this breaks, your question is, where are the next key areas, either levels of continuity, so like the day open, or let's say the week open, or let's just say like the monthly signal. So when you take this, and we know if this is making higher lows, it's going up, right? So we have this scenario too. When this is happening, it's like, okay, we take the week open, boom. Then we get an inside bar signal, boom, that takes the day open. And then you get another 2. And then now the signal on the month is enforced. Now it's actually going. And then it's, it starts taking off like Tesla this morning. So what you want to do is use lower time frame groups to get on the right track. Like where are we going to trigger these levels or signals? So we can also think of this in levels of reclaim. So like, for example, SPY with the Fed move down in here. Before the Fed had came out, we knew this was an inside bar to this. So we prefer, if we're going to buy it, it goes like this. And we drew that out and we told everyone, if we're going to buy it, it's going to look like that. So then what do we want to do? What we want to do is we want to time signals here to change the month, to change the week, to change the day opens. So these are like your banners, right, in the highway. So if we go in here, we use this. Or we mentioned this right in here. So we had the 10-minute signal. So you can use that signal, or the other thing you can use is when that goes green here and it reclaims this low, that's your first hint. Because if we know if it reclaims this low, it's going to this high. So if that works, we're going to change all of this because this is all within the range. So you would take it like this. Given that doesn't reverse, we take this stuff out. Since we know we have news and stuff, what we can do is, as well as we can just risk the lows if we would like to, right? It's just a matter of getting a winning trade. So once it goes boom right into these highs, and I did skip a few bars, but once it goes boom right into here, we could reduce it, and then our cost basis becomes this. Because if we bought 4 contracts, reduce 2, if it stops us out below where we bought it, we'd still be in a profit because we guaranteed profit. So now we're in and it looks like this. So if we can change these, all right, start running through those guys, then we're going to see the change in continuity. The week is green, the month is green, and now you can see that it's acting as support, right? Which that tends to happen. And then boom, they take out the other side. The same thing's true here. When this goes inside 10 or 3-1, this 10-minute breaks, what would that change? The day would go green here. And we know if it reclaims the morning lows, it's going to the morning highs. So when this breaks, the month is green, the week's already green, boom, right here, 10-minute signal. The day goes green, boom, everyone has to buy. So this is what you're doing. And another way to think about it is like this. I did see a question in the chat. Just give me a second here. No, it's not complicated or confusing at all. No, it's just if you reclaim. So when we're looking at continuity, we are doing it in knowledge of how the market's going to work. The market will consolidate, take one side of the range, fail, and go the other way. The market will go one direction, take one side of the range, fail, and go the other way. This will occur into continuity, or it will occur to change continuity. So if we zoom out, why would we even expect this? You might say, Alex, the week was red, the month was red. Why would you expect that? Because this week, although the week is red, this is a higher low. So if this is a higher low, it's not going down this week. What does that tell us? If we have signals from a higher low back in the other direction, it's going to make a higher high. Duh. Right? That's the idea. If we go to the month, this month is a 2 up. This is a higher low. So if we have signals from a higher low, it's going to go make higher highs. And then the day was 2 down, lower lows during higher low on the week, higher low on the month. So in an uptrend, what you're going to have is this. If you have those 2s up or inside bars making higher lows, this is a lower low on a daily chart, higher low on the week. That's what a triangle layout is. It's like we're going up this week. It's like we go to hood. See on the month was a 2 up when this was down in here in bright red. So it's 2 up, but red. The week made a lower low, but the month is a higher low. So if that happens, and we go reversal here, inside bar signal here, reversal here, all the way up into here, this is the higher low on the month occurring as a lower low on the week and a lower low on the daily basis, which is here first. So that's all it is. But you have to do this in the direction of the most 2s and 2s going 3. So if we go to the day, it's going to look like this. Lower low, reclaim. If that reclaim occurs, what would we change? We would take this out. How do we know if that's still occurring? Given no reversal against higher low, higher low, higher low. So all these are higher lows. It's going to take that out every time. If it doesn't reverse, it has to be going up. So what we want to do is pick our time frame for a daily guy, perfect, weekly guy, whatever you want to be. And then you want to identify your broadening formations and look for reclaim back through. And then you ask yourself, if this works, what is it going to do? Well, if this goes 2-2 reversal, the magnitude is that. How do we know that? Because a 1-2-2 reversal magnitude is this green line. On hood, that green line is here at 51.30 every time. The month open is here, slightly below it. So if this works, this would change the month by reaching its daily magnitude successfully. And if that works, not only would we change the month, but we'd add an additional actionable signal where we have a hammer month in force for another 21 days. And this monthly signal, since we have an uptrend this month, we have a lower low on the quarter, potentially scenario 3. So although this is a lower low, this month is a higher low. It's going up this month. So as long as it's green, that's what's happening. And what that means for us is we want to look for lower lows in here, back in that direction. Lower lows in here, back in that direction. The lower lows here, back in that direction. Well, the biggest thing is with the strat is we want to create winning positions and hold. Because winning positions, if we trade in full time frame continuity, tend to keep going, right? Now, there's specific conditions we want to do that on. Like we want stuff like hood, where we have a monthly signal all month. If I can grab that on Tuesday down in here, which I did, then I want to just hold it, right? As long as that monthly open is green, 51.25, I want to stick around, ideally, right? Now it's subject to, the rest of the market conditions, but those are things that are known to be true. So like at this point, SPY is still a 2 up month, still green. So we still have the rest of the month, as long as that stays the case. And we're monitoring that closely because obviously we're kind of not doing anything right now. So we'd prefer triangle out and then get going again, but You see on Hood, for example, this 2215er comes off a lower low. If that works, you'd have full time frame continuity. Now, why is this different than the condition in the morning? Well, it's technically not, right? You have a 15er. The magnitude would be to come back through this. The 30 minute is a 2 going 3 rev strat 30 into full time frame continuity. What does that tell you? This above here, 54.58, is trying to go there, 56.30. So that's a trade. As long as it's above that, it's going there. That's what a trade looks like. And it has full time frame continuity. So we can take that. And then if it fails, so be it, right? As long as we do that into full time frame continuity, the bigger trades are going to be wins, not losses, because we're going to have tighter stops and make sure we're not holding losing trades. And the cool thing is on Hood, it was like a 700 or 650%er for me earlier in the week. This was yesterday in the morning. I reduced some of it, guaranteeing a win. And right in the morning previously here, I added on longer term options. I have like a $2,000 position. So when this goes green here, I can just take, hey, I already made, a couple $1,000 on this. I'm going to risk another $200 on this trade. And if it works, maybe I make another 1,000 if it goes to the highs. And that's how it works. We'll see SPY. Notice the inside 10 are up, right? Changes the 30, 60 to green. The week and month are green. So at this point, you have a reclaim of this with the week, the month, the 30, 60 group for control. The only problem is we're not inside 60. We're a 2 going 360. The only problem is we're an inside day. So today, the buyers and sellers aren't that aggressive. But what that tells you is you want to go after things that are 2 up today. So even though SPY might not be the best trade here, like Hood, pretty good trade there. You got 2s up on the day, 2 up on the week, or 3 up on the week, 2 up on the month, 2 going 3/4, 2 up on the year, and 2 reversal 15. You got all of it. You may have a Shopify 30-minute 2 reversal setting up. It is still an inside day, and this is occurring right at the big level of reclaim here. 89.50, so maybe you get some intraday action there. Tesla is currently still an inside 60, so we're going to hold off. So let's go look at Hood quick. So you can see the 15. This lasted until right now. New 30's open. So we go on a 30. Are we a 2 on the 30? We're not. So at this point, a lower high, so it's not going up. A higher low, so it's not going down. It's red, which means the seller's more aggressive here. At this point, we've got no evidence, right? The only thing you could say is you could argue, hey, it's a higher low, so maybe we can get the higher high, right? So now if that was going to occur, higher low and higher high, what would it look like? Lower low on the 1 minute, followed by a 2-2 reversal to make the higher high, or a 3. What that would cause is a 1-2-2 30 minute. And that's actually what we want to be looking for right now is rev strat 30s with full time frame continuity. So we're going to take a look. We can look for our signals. It's going to be delayed right now. We're still working on fixing that, but we got the rev strat, and we could go to setup to just see which ones there were. Set up 2 down in green with a 1 previously. And we could look for full time frame continuity. I'm going to full screen it. So they only got 7. You can see HIMS was on there. Go to signal and we should be able to get this now. ROST is on there. Yeah, so you can see we're having some data problems in here. I know ROST is like slightly illiquid, so maybe it's not the best to be checking against, but let me check my thinkorswim. It's kind of sad. We just pushed an update yesterday and it's a really good update, but it's causing some issues, so we're not able to fully use the scanner this morning with everyone on the live stream. Yeah, so on ROST on the 30 minute looks a little bit better. So you can see ROST, here's an example. The week, inside week and up in force. So it does have a weekly signal, but it's already exhausted that signal by hitting its magnitude. The month is a 2 up in green, But today, the sellers have control. It's a 2 to the downside. So unless you could change the day, more than likely, these signals will fail unless this 30 were to work. In this case, you'll see this is completely stuck inside of the morning range. So there's nothing we're really interested in there. Shopify is a 2230 on this change. Shopify for the gapper traders. So you can see SPY, 30-minute hammer signal would reclaim this mother bar. Question would be is, are they strong enough to actually do that? We don't have much continuity to back it up. Is the month, although green, right? How aggressive are they this month? Not very. It's only up $4. The week is green, but how aggressive are they this week? It's only up $2. So, and we're an inside day. So you got 30 minutes to see if that can get those things greener and change the day to green if that breaks on SPY. And we would consider this 10-minute signal still good as it has not reversed. So they're reclaiming that with a change in continuity. If you go to the US 500, you'll see the 10-minute signal marks the bottom of this broadening formation that we drew out. So at this point, we're going to have 30 minutes to try and change that stuff. If it fails to, you'd have a 2230 back down with the week, the day, the 3060 red on futures. So we always want to be aware, if it works, what happens? If it fails, what happens? Yeah, we still have a lot of time left on SPY. I think a lot of it is they're waiting for, information on changes to tariffs and deals and whatever coming through, which makes sense, right? But there's still gonna be good trades on the upside because we can say the market firmed up. It's just, where is that happening? And it's like Hood, and some of it going on there this week. AI had some of it going on there this week, right? Netflix, you can see the hammer 30. This is a rev strat potentially. So when we look at this, we had the inside day yesterday. This hammer 30 is trying to cause a rev strat 1-3 to the upside day. You can see this month, this week, it's not the greenest, but if it kicks in here, it'd be full time from continuity. So maybe at this point, SPY is 30s up, Qs is 30s up. So you got a simultaneous break on those two back the other way. If it's gonna be a strong break, IWM and Dow Jones should break as well. So you can play the laggards, as we call it. The ones that break second or third and fourth will be your laggards, which would be those two. So you can see Hood, it did tick up, takes the 30s up. So new lows, new highs on the oneer, and then new lows again. So maybe triangle out on the oneer to re-break the 30. I don't really like trading on those oneers there, but let's take a look. How many 30s do we got? So you can see about 19% of the SPY, 30% of the Qs. So you'll notice today it's been hard pressed to find anything that's like 80% up or down, which is where high probability trading is going to be. Regardless of that, there's still been some decent trades, but we'll see if that can get better here. And again, it's mostly just because of those inside days. Hopefully that changes for you if you're trading on a Friday, but what's the easiest universe? In my opinion, I would say using the gap down buy and the gap up sell in full time frame continuity names. Or the kicking patterns, like in conjunction with that. So it's like you're trading gappers, but you're doing it on full time frame continuity where you know there's a buyer. So like, two examples of that today was Hood trading this 60 in here into the monthly target. That was a good one. And Tesla kicking pattern 60 into full time frame continuity. This is a really good one to be trading off of. So you can either do that, or you can use, and I don't have a good example of it today, but like Monster would be an example. Gap down buy. But what I like to see is when you have full time frame continuity names, so like, let's say you're looking at Netflix. If it's just grinding up, I like to see the slight gap down and then go after it, or the slight lower low and then go after it. That's kind of, I would say like that's the easiest one. You just have to play it right at the open, which, you know, depending on your skill level. If you're not going to be like at the open trading, then trading the 30, 60 simultaneous breaks on indexes is where you want to be. And what that is when you have inside 60s across 2 or more of the indexes, or inside 30s across 2 or more, and then they all break in the same direction. So like SPY yesterday was an example of the 60. You'll see the inside 60 bar SPY. Dow Jones inside 60 bar at Dow Jones. So when that goes inside down Dow Jones and SPY, you can play that. In this case, we only had those two. If we go to IBM, you can see it went up, but then red. So this was a 2 up in red in the direction of the simultaneous Dow Jones SPY. By the way, Tesla, 15ers break back up, pivot machine gun Tesla. Maybe setting up the 60 momentum hammer to really send it on Tesla for later today. But then the same thing we mentioned today, SPY inside 30 down, Qs inside 30 down right there. Dow Jones inside 30 down, IBM inside 30, rev strat 2 going 3. So it did go inside down, but it was a rev strat. So like, that's another example. The biggest thing is you want this during high volatility, and you can use 2-2 reversals as well. So another example would be this. And this was when the VIX was much higher. But in here, IBM 2 up, 2 down reversal 60 minute. SPY 2 up, 2 down reversal 60 minute. Qs 2 up, 2 down reversal 60 minute. Dow Jones 2 up, 2 down reversal 60 minute. You short all of them, and then you cover the one that goes higher highs. So once it reverses, you get out. Once it reverses, you get out. And then you're left with the best trade at the end of the day, the one that didn't reverse. So trading that simultaneous break is ideal. And doing it on the 30-60 indexes, you almost get a trade every day. And there's normally more than one, actually. So the same thing's true today. The 30's down. Then it goes into lows. And we said, yeah, probably you're going to want to cover that. Right, and then 30's up and the 10er's up. Maybe you get a simultaneous break the other way. You only trade stocks. SPY is a stock. SPY is a stock. So you can do this. And if you're trading simultaneous breaks on stocks, the tech stocks, XLK, semis, SMH, it's all the same. So you can see like semis today. This made a higher low, so it's relatively stronger. It tells you can trade NVIDIA. And you can trade maybe LRCX, maybe Marvell. Yeah, Marvell. Notice this breaks with full time from continuity. Every day is a school day. Whenever I do the open live streams, I try to focus on the trading right in the morning when things are super quick. And then once things slow down, I take all your questions. So you can see Hood still not reversing those 5ers up. Still no evidence right now on the 30 basis for that buyer to come back. So still nothing on Hood. Visa, rev strat 15 or to the downside, 1 bar rev strat. So you can see SPY, they did tick up. We'll see if they triangle day out. Biggest thing today is just that inside bar on the day. These indexes are not going to be as good. And so you can see the initial break of the 30, they fail to change the day. So at this point, the day's still red on the futures. And we're not ruling out the downside, right? We can say it reversed up, but it can, on the next 30 reverse down, but we'll see. How much evidence do we have on it? You can see about 42 and 32%. This is not high quality trading. We want 80%, 90%. And it's just because of those inside days. That's the problem here. Utilities go sideways 60 down. So the utilities are still coming in. AEP, rev strat 30s down. WEC, they're getting wrecked. Duck is rev strat 30s down. So you can see in the utilities, there's 65%. That's sort of the only place we have a lot of evidence to do anything, which we're kind of late to that, so it's fine to not touch it. So on Hood, I tried a little bit of a long, gave back $80, so I'm still up hugely on the trade, perfectly fine. But I think, you know, as far as the rest of the day is concerned, maybe you can get 30s back down to trigger the day. So you can see they're countering that hammer signal at this point. Once it's gone 2 up in red, you see that 60-30 day go back to control, or at least they're more aggressive right now. What you'd want to see is you want to see the 2-2-2 30-minute across the whole market to take yesterday's lows if you're going to get any big move today. If not, maybe a 60-minute simultaneous 2-2 reversal could do it. At this point, I'm really just, it's kind of a guess, because when you have most of the market scenario 1, SPY, Qs, Dow Jones, IWM, you could say they're red. So you want to trade things taking yesterday's lows ideally. But that's all you could say, and don't got much more to talk about than that. As far as signals to the downside today, we did miss a pretty nice simultaneous break in the defensive stocks, but that simultaneous break lasts all day. So if you're going to stick around trading the rest of the day, personally, I'm not. I want to golf. So it's a beautiful day for us, although it's only 50 right now. It's supposed to get better. Observations will include Zscaler 3 question mark, because once it's a 3, we don't know, but Lockheed Martin, GD, GE, nope, NOC, LMTRTX, so you got some 2-2s in there, and what that means is what you look for is this. You want to see a green bar, corrective activity, ideally a scenario 2 to the upside, but it just needs to be green, and then a signal that goes the other way. Ideally, it's not just like inside down. We want to see slight higher highs, then back in the direction. So look for the simultaneous 30-60s to set up on those guys. Outside of that, any other simultaneous breaks? Non-cyclicals, Coke, KDP. You say utilities. So utilities, they sold the first 60, came back to sell more the second. Which is true about the SPY, it's just not going anywhere. But you say XLU, APWC, duck, SL. And when we look at the day, it's like, this is what tells you. So like this tells you where you want to be. Utilities, 73%, right? Sadly, we don't have a defensive part of the market that we can, show here. But you can say real estates. I personally don't trade those often. And non-cyclicals, although they have a lot of twos down, not a lot of signals. So utilities, this is where you have the most evidence to be a short seller today. And the only thing we mentioned there was CEG, which is still, you can see inside 60, or what, 2 down in green 60. So not much more selling going on there right now. But that is about it for the morning here. We'll take a few questions, then I'm going to hop off. Right at the open. So I don't have a great example from this week. We just didn't have many we played. I guess Netflix might have a decent example. But like Netflix, for example, right? So it's going up, closes here, gaps down slightly, ticks down, then green, boom. Going up, gaps down slightly, goes red, then goes green, boom. Goes up, gaps down slightly, and you can see it's just repeating. Here, gap down slightly, and then up they go. So that's one of the ways you can do this. If we go in here, what you're going to see is sometimes it's right at the open, other times it's not. So what matters is the relationship to the open, and can you get a signal to do it? Or ideally we want a reclaim level to play off of. So for example, we'd like to play the reclaims off of this or off of this on the gap down. So gaps down, they stick the lows first, and then they go back in the direction of continuity. And all this is triangle they out, stop them out, reclaim back in the direction of continuity. And that's all you're doing. Stop them out, reclaim back in the direction of continuity. And this is all you're looking to do. It's the same thing every time. Stop them out. Hit the lower lows here, the lower lows here. Reclaim back in the direction of continuity. So if you can find things with continuity, which is simple, it's just a scan, right? Above the week and the month opens, and then look at things that are gapping down slightly, that's one of the ways you can do it. Gap down, reclaim, back in the direction of continuity. And it's just over and over. Gap down, reclaim, back in the direction of continuity. And it's a simple way of just understanding we're looking for a lower low and then go in the direction of where we know it's trying to go. Tesla 15 still good. Setting up the 60s. Do you need to mark it off? No. What we want you to do is use 4 time frames. So whenever you look at a chart, you must open it on 4 separate time frames. Because what this allows you to do is see how much evidence you actually have for your trades, because most people have no idea. So we want to use the 60, the day, the week, the month. So if you're like, I'm going to buy shop today. This week, this month, today, we have no evidence of a buyer. So where's your evidence? Just on a 60 basis. So that's not a lot of evidence. Versus Tesla. I want to buy Tesla. All right, we have an actionable 60 signal. The week, the month, the day are all green and going up. And the month signal's in force. So this 60 would confirm the hammer week, would confirm the hammer month. The only thing is we don't have a magnitude. So since it's momentum, you gotta really tightly defend that. You want it to just break and go if they're actually gonna send it. Ideally with a market break to the upside simultaneously to help it out. But you can see the difference where all these are green versus all of them being red. So when we're trading, the other thing we then ask is, okay, well, Z-scaler, when this goes 2 up, but red, reclaiming this, if that works, where's it gonna go? It's gonna take all these pivots out. Okay, would that change the week? Would that change the month? In this case, it would. The month open was here. So if we take all these pivots out, the month goes red and the week would be red. Does that mean it's going to stay that way? No. Once we hit this low, that was our pivot target. Now we don't know. Either it stays red and it starts cratering, or it doesn't and they start going the other way. So once they made the lows here, that's when we covered. Right, I was a little late on it, but you'll see the 225 here marks the low to cover. So right into here, it does change continuity, but then this here changes that week and month back to green. So at this point, you know, either we stay in the middle of the range today since we already did a 3, or they try and bring it all the way through if the market firms up. Top videos you should watch as a new stratter. I would watch, I believe, anything in the learning the strat or like how to the strat playlist on my channel. I know I have a lot of separate playlists. I need to consolidate those, but type in the 2-2 reversal strategy, type in, or go watch my recent video, transforming your trading in 12 minutes. That's a really good one. So you can see the charts the way we see them. But if you just do those 2 videos, the 2-2 reversal strategy and then transforming your view of the charts in 12 minutes, those 2 videos should be more than enough. The biggest thing is once you know the strat, you have to know what to trade on. So you need to trade stuff that's moving. And if you're trading stuff, like if we were trading ZS any of these days, we would have got wrecked. Since we were trading it today, maybe you bought it, then you flip it short, make all your money back, which is what we want to see. But Rob Smith Quant Edge, yeah, if you have the link, you can post that in the chat. That's also another good one. I think you locked it in for me was, or what you locked in for me was the supported evidence based on what you are trading and time frame. Since I trade long term, the signals I go off of. So thank you. The in and out during the day is what I look as the normal, yeah, the market life cycle. Yeah. The real first videos? No, I don't like that one. I have a video on my channel called The Strat A to Z, and everyone really it's like my best performing video. I don't know how. It's from when I was a little bit younger, a little squeakier, so I really don't like it. But you could watch that. It's not bad. It's so good. I just can't sit through and watch it, so I don't even know if it's good. All I know is that I went through all the concepts I could is in like a full video. There's also, if you want to, there's a 3-hour video that I live streamed on my channel. It's called Learn the Strat in One Video. So you can check that out. So there's a lot of options. We try to make it, as public as we can. Looks like Tesla is going back into the middle of the triangle, so they're stuck. But you see SPY, Fiverr inside down into a PMG, 15ers down, so they're bringing them back in a little bit. You might get the 30 SPY in about 6 minutes on the third 60 of the day. So we could say they sold the first 60, came back to sell more the second, just not that aggressive. Now, if that 30 breaks after corrective activity against the day, this 2-2 maybe could trigger this, and take the day down. It's a maybe though. So it's up to you if you want to trade maybes. Personally, I want to go golf. So I'm going to call it a morning here, everybody. And if you're interested in learning more about the strat, like I said, there's a video. It's called Learn the Strat in One Video on my channel. Go check that out. And if you saw the scanner and you want to get a hold of that, you can go to stratalerts.ai/beta-landing. And if you go there and sign up, we'll send you an email with a discount code, or potentially get into the first 300 people that get the scanner for free for 3 weeks. So no fluff, no cost. We just want your feedback, and we're also going to be doing some live streams on that. But that being said, that's all I've got for you today, and I'll see you guys, later next week.